Okay, all right, I am good to go. So, my name is Bridget Bycina, and I'm a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor as well as a certified rehabilitation counselor. So, I'm just going to explain a little bit about what I do personally on a day to day basis with clients that I work with. And then we're going to kind of go right into and dive into choosing your purpose and trying to help you today to try to help define what your purpose is and what that means. So, with that being said, a certified rehabilitation counselor is somebody that actually meets with clients to discuss where they are in life, kind of what their career goals are. We either meet with somebody after leaving high school, early 20s, late 40s, late 60s, all different ages. So we have kind of a crosswalk of different ages and where people are in their life. Typically, I see people coming to seek services around the age of 30 to 40. They've got into a field or a profession, maybe they went to college for, maybe they didn't, and they just feel like they're no longer fulfilled in that profession or fulfilled in what they're doing, or just fulfilled overall, whether it be in like their relationships with other people, their relationships with their colleagues, at work, different things like that. So I actually perform a lot of different assessment tools with a client and meet with them, and we kind of figure out what they're good at, what your strengths are, different types of things that you're not good at, right? And also, too, what your passion is, because I believe that passion has to also play a role in what your purpose is and how that can lead into a fulfilling career. So, with that being said, I know I have three people on. I don't know if anyone feels like maybe introducing themselves, just saying hi and maybe where you're from and why you decided to attend the webinar today. So I can kind of gear this webinar to the people that have attended. I'm not sure if anyone wants to start, and if not, that's okay. But I do see Danny.
Yeah, I can go first. So hi everybody, my name's Danny. I live up in Canada, and the reason I'm here today is, well, I kind of hit 30 and my vanilla job, I realized I didn't want to do it anymore, and I'm struggling to find out what to do next.
Yeah. Hi, Danny. Great. Thank you for joining us today. Um, Anyone else would like to chime in where they're from at least? Okay, if not, no worries. We will continue. Oh, Lacey.
I can. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can
No.
go. I'm Lacey. I am from here in the U.S., from Colorado, and really, kind of, I'm here today to um, kind of maybe find a different path. I've been in the industry for almost 8 years, and so I'm kind of just trying to figure out maybe something else to do. I don't know.
Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for joining. Colorado, is it snowing still?
Right now it's sunny, but it certainly January is a very difficult month generally. And so it was kind of gloomy, but we're happy to be entering into February with a sunny day.
Okay, great, great, good. Right. And the last person, Brittany, if you wanted to, you feel free to jump in where you're from. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes people are at work and they can't, and so I get it. So we'll go ahead and keep going. And I just want to let you know that anybody at any time, if you want to turn off your mic and oh, Brittany, go ahead, Brittany.
I have my mic muted. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, great. I'm in the California desert, and I've been using pineapple support for my one-on-one counseling for a couple of years. I'm agoraphobic, so I'm really trying to get over that. and I've been on their Monday afternoon sessions, drop in. I just love pineapple support, but I'm feeling very burned out on my job because I work online 4 different sites, 5 actually. I'm just looking for some refreshment because being home 24/7, you feel, well, it's there, I should be working. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Definitely, burnout is definitely probably one of the reasons why most people kind of either seek counseling or come to these seminars or webinars, as well as the different groups that Pineapple Support offers. So I think it's wonderful that you guys joined today. And I give you guys a lot of credit for taking out the time of your day just to be here and to kind of learn a little bit more about what you can do and kind of the steps to go about finding what your career and purpose is moving forward. There's good and bad news. The good news is you're not going to know everything today. The bad, but that's good news because um, it actually means that you're exploring new avenues and you're learning new things. And so, with that, I think that that's important to know that we all have a purpose, and sometimes it changes and shifts throughout our lives. Everything is not. It's kind of like the person that goes to school, and you mentioned that sometimes you had a career path for a certain amount of time. People get burnt out, right? People stop enjoying what they're doing, and they're wondering, why am I actually doing what I'm doing? And so, what is my purpose? What is going to be my legacy? Whether you have children, whether you don't have children, but how are you going to improve your life so you lead a happy, quality life? At least most of the days, right? Because no matter what we do, some of the days we're not going to have that, right? So I kind of wanted to just talk a little bit about our skills and our strengths that we have. I always think it's really important to start any type of conversation or any type of um, interaction with other people with strength based. So, strength based meaning what is the best things that you are good at? What are your skills that you actually really feel like it could be organization, it could be communication. What comes just natural to you? Does anyone want to chime in something that comes natural to them?
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I can chime in. I feel like, and maybe this is just goes with the territory of, the job, but I feel like I am a very strong multitasker, and I can keep track of things, multiple tasks really easily. And I'm also, I feel like I'm really, I can kind of jump back and forth in between tasks and like successfully complete each task.
That's wonderful. That's really a great thing to have in any field, actually. In any field you do. Excellent. Good. That's a good one. People that tend to say they have purpose in their life have certain characteristics about them that they feel brings them purpose. So I wanted just to go over the list of about 6 of them that I have. Um, and people that have a career that they feel is purposeful. Doesn't matter. We're not talking about salaries, or we're not basing success on how much money you make or what your title is or anything like that. There's just really basically 6 examples of how purposeful people feel in the job that they have. Okay. The first thing is that they always say that if they make a positive impact on others through mentorship. So being at a job where you feel that you can mentor others, where they become successful, has a greater sense of purpose in that job, if that makes sense. So having an impact on other people through a mentorship program. So people that kind of work alone or are feeling isolated do not have as bigger of a passion about their job or pursuing their job or their passion as much as people that interact more with others. And of course, this is disagreeable, right? This is not written in stone. This is just some research that has been done throughout the years. So when you're thinking about what you do, I want you to think about how you can incorporate some of these things, even if you write them down on a piece of paper right now, that would be great. Number two is quite interesting. They actually found out that people that help other people that are struggling in different types of areas, whether it be financial, like through poverty, or through mental health or physical, people that are in those type of occupations tend to have feel more of a purpose in their career. So helping others in some type of way, but helping others that are experiencing difficult times. Okay. Other thing is that examples of purpose is that most of the days spent at your job or your employment are happy. Okay, so if you feel like you're in a position or you're in a situation where you're not happy most of the time, um, then that might mean that it's not a purposeful position for you. Whereas maybe somebody else is, that you work with, but maybe not for you. They said that people that improve their overall physical health, um, and also people that encourage other people to do the same while they're working, have a better sense of purpose on their job as well too. Okay. And that kind of makes sense, right? When you feel more, if you feel better physically, you're gonna probably mentally feel better as well. Um, People that can adapt, and this is where we're going to go to Lacey, where I felt like she kind of mentioned a little bit about her multitasking, but people that can adapt, multitask, and have more flexibility in some of their detours that happen on your job tend to have a greater purpose, tend to have a better success rate of happiness while they're employed or while they're doing their career. And the final one, which a lot of people is that your relationships while you're at work is as well too. So people find that no matter what they're doing, if they have a better relationship with the people that they work with, it improves their overall. They feel like they have a purpose, and it improves their overall happiness while they're working. So then we get to the huge question of, so what happens if you don't have a job that does that, right? What do you do? Someone mentioned that they spent the last, you know, 7 years, I believe it was 7 years in the field, working a lot, and just feeling that it's maybe not purposeful at this time. So there's some things that you can do to actually make it feel like you are purposeful, or you can explore different avenues, right? How does your purpose change? Is a great one. Okay, so how do you become purposeful at your job while you're doing your job? And the first thing is probably finding your biggest strengths. Does anyone else have another strength besides multitasking?
I've always been told that I'm like very friendly, charismatic, and can like lead a room.
That's true. That is definitely true. Um, yes. Okay. We just got someone else joining us, so I'm going to go ahead and add her too. Hi, Emily. Yes, Danny. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Anyone else have any strengths that they wanted to mention? Anyone detailed oriented? Hates details. Okay. Anyone ever been told that they were a strong leader? Okay. All right, so the first thing you would really want to do is really just start with a whole list of different strengths that you have. So make a list of them. Okay. That's really important for you to do. Make a list of all your different strengths. And what other interests you've had in the past. So I heard somebody talk about how they're feeling very burnt out, they're working a lot. What other interests, this is another question you can ask yourself. You could do it right now or you could do it after the webinar, but what other interests would you like to explore besides what you're doing now? So do you have, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, feeling a lot of burnout, and they actually want to go back to become a heavy equipment operator. For those of you that are familiar with Las Vegas, Nevada, we have a lot of growth and a lot of construction, and it is actually an amazing occupation to have here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It might not be the best to have in maybe a place where there is no growth, where there's no opportunity, but here, as a person that works in the construction industry, there's a lot of unions, there's a lot of prevailing wage jobs, and secure hours, benefits, which is important to some people. So they're actually looking forward to, they love to work out, they love to stay healthy, they love to move around. So I kind of work with them in regards to narrowing down what they specifically can do in order for them to be able to get their heavy equipment operator license, how much it would cost, a realistic setting of the goal, time frames, enrolling into the program, and then also paying the union dues in order to start the work. And successfully, they were actually able to do that. And I know that I had received a message that their first job, they were doing $88 an hour. So they were very excited and they had a great workout. But it's not for everyone. So, so you have to ask yourself, what are the interests in that you would like to explore? So before you quit your job or before you quit your occupation, you got to kind of reconnect with the interest that you neglected for so many years, right? For so many years, you're probably very busy, goal-oriented, working on whatever you needed to do to accomplish whatever you wanted to accomplish in your current positions. So now it's what have I forgot? Who am I? Such as, do you like to write? Do you like to sing? Do you like to cook? Are you creative? Do you like to do arts? Kind of just getting back into touch with everything that you really enjoy doing and any interest that you're doing. With that, with the interests that you like to doing, based with the strengths that you wrote down, what you can do, and if you want to write this down on a little piece of paper, is perfect. Thank you. Okay, there you go. I want to talk about that, Danny. So what we can do is write those two things down, your interests that you want to explore, and then also your strengths, okay? Because that's where you got to start. We're not, like I said, there's good and bad news to this webinar, right? We're not going to solve everything in an hour, and everybody's not going to go and you know, in a few minutes have, every single thing that they want or they want to explore. So, but we're going to start as just basic 2 questions. What are my strengths and what interests would I like to explore? Or did I explore in the past that I really enjoyed? Okay. So with that being said, does anybody want to share what interests they had in the past?
Hi, can
Go
I
ahead,
ask
Brittany.
Bridget? I don't know if you can hear me.
I think
Can you hear me, Bridget?
it's really faint.
Sorry, I'm trying to be still. In my apartment, I'm coming to the other room.
It must be the California desert.
Yes, we know about these deserts. I wanted to ask you, because I am in California, we had the AB5 law back in 2020, which meant no more independent contractors.
Well, I'm having a hard time understanding what you're saying.
I don't know where this is. It was working fine before. How about now?
A little bit better.
How's that? Is that yeah. Should I type it? I'm just going to type it, okay? Can I type it in the chat?
Yeah, go ahead and type it. And with that, Danny, do you mind hopping on real quick and just sharing what you wrote?
Yeah, so what I wrote was I absolutely lost myself in my career. So I quit my job in the summertime, and I found like the past 10 years, my whole life was my career. Like the people I hung out with talked about my career. When I was at home, it was all about my career. And so the past few months, I've taken time. Oh, sorry, I'm on a bike right now. I've taken time to get some hobbies again.
Good, good. And what were some of the things that you enjoyed to do in the past?
I used to love doing things like snowshoeing, which my job kind of ruined because once you have to snowshoe for a job, hiking, which my job actually had ruined as well because I hiked all the time. Just things like that, any kind of outdoor activity.
Right. Yeah, definitely outdoors. Brittany, did you want to try again? Oh, eliminate independent. No, I have not. So Brittany said, have you heard about the new rule that will eliminate independent contractors? No. I have not, Brittany. Is that just in California?
No, it's nationwide. Biden wants to put it nationwide starting March 11th. Very disconcerting.
March 11th. I have not.
If you can go to Kevin Kiley, Kiley, his Twitter, he's represented in California. It ruined my job back in 2020. Biden's taking it national, and they're taking it to Senate so that no one can. I mean, it's going to affect over 600 careers, occupations, and I just wondered if you started it.
Huh. Well, it's just not going to affect independent contractors. It's going to affect a lot of businesses as well if that actually happens. If you could type in that into the chat room, because it was kind of a little bit still hard to hear you, that would be great. So we can kind of write that down and we can all look that up for the people that live in the States, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you. Okay, so now you've written down some of your strengths. Okay, Kevin Keeley on Twitter. Okay. So now you wrote down a lot of your strengths and you wrote down some things maybe that some things that had interest you in the past. But like, for example, like Danny said that when she was doing her job for 10 years, she just lost interest in everything and forgot who she was. It made her career probably her only purpose. And that actually made it very difficult for her to find herself and is probably still looking to find herself. Jamie, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, evening, where everyone's at. Sorry, I'm late to the session webinar. To reflect on everything that she's mentioned is, everything that gets you outside of your mind, cognitive behavioral therapy. And it really is hard to get outside of that mindset, especially if you appreciate what you love. Because I'm for myself am I've been in the adult entertainment industry. So anything relatable towards that, I just have a huge disinterest in. So on my hiatus, I really found that self-discovery is probably like the best clarity ever. Reading books and anything that can stimulate your mind. I started painting. I enjoy stretching and yoga. I switched, like, I totally made a health wise decision also with like my health and diet and just my mindset. But it's really difficult. Like, I totally got what you relate with. And picking up new hobbies that are outside of my comfort zone, which is highly encouraged, would definitely be like rock climbing because I have a really big fear of heights. So that's like one thing I've been enjoying. I don't know if that was relatable to this discussion or not, but
Very much
thank you.
so. No, thank you for sharing that. Absolutely perfect into this discussion. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, is exploring things that you find interesting, things that you like to do, trying new things. That's all part of finding purpose again, purpose in your life, and then purpose in what you want to pursue your next career in as well, too, if that's the case. So I think that's great. Yeah, yes, Jamie. I mean, you nailed it. Absolutely. Um, so yes, absolutely. Ice climbing. Danny tried ice climbing. She said she was terrified though. Nice, nice. So that's another, and I want to kind of. It's a great conversation to have. Kind of where you have to ask yourself the third question. The third question I always ask the clients is, well, what motivates you? So, what do you find that might be something that's motivating for your sense of purpose? And there's two types of different kind of motivation, right? There's like internal motivation, right, which is what drives you in your actions. And of course, then there's some type of external motivation, okay? And that's usually typically a monetary reward. That's usually financial, or maybe some accolades, awards, things like that. So there's internal and external motivational factors that you have to kind of identify within yourself as to why you do what you do and why it's worth pursuing. We're kind of all motivated by both, to be honest with you, right? We want to have a healthy balance of both. We don't want to just be all motivated by money, but we also don't want to just all be motivated by um, internal feeling good factors as well too. Because what happens is that when one runs out, we need the other one to keep us going. So, for example, like if you help others, you can't do it for free. Unfortunately, you would like to, right? But it would be very cause you a lot of mental health, financial problems, stress to be able to work for free. And I think pretty much everyone could agree with that. But you want to make a positive difference in others' lives, so you can go ahead and maybe take on some pro bono clients, right? You can kind of maybe even do slide and scale fees. You can kind of maybe help others in different areas that maybe that are meaningful to you, where it's a kind of healthy balance. But finding what motivating factors, whether they be internal or external, drives you is really important to matching that career. Okay. I have been a therapist for 30 years now. I've been licensed since I was 21. And there was a period of time where I was extremely burnt out, working in a variety of different fields. And so I was here in I've been in Las Vegas for the last 30 years. And I had a friend that had an interior design company. She said, Bridget, come work with me for a year. I said, I don't know anything about it. And I said, but I love designing. You know, I love to put things together. And she said, but, you know, it's okay, I'll teach you. And I was fortunate enough to be able to say, you know what, let me just take this leap of faith and do it. Well, that year turned into 5 years. And it was one of the most rewarding jobs that I've ever had because it lived outside of my box. I was be able to be creative. I was able to actually incorporate. I still had a private practice after my interior design job, but there was a lot of people I was able to still interact with on a daily basis. I didn't feel isolated, alone. It was really kind of interesting. So what I found out about myself is that what motivated me was not just the financial piece, but it was also an internal piece to know that, hey, I'm pretty good at, you know, designing, or I'm pretty good at putting things together or multitasking. And that became meaningful, and meaningful in a great way, because what I learned from that job I took that went back into my career full time, was I was part time, but went and incorporated that into my treatment. So to do more of a holistic approach to treatment when I work with clients. And it's really nice to be able to know that and do that. And so sometimes I think that that's what motivates me to keep going is I can have that creativity and I'm not afraid to do so anymore. So I think that's great. I'm just going to go ahead and look at some of these webinar chats real quick. Jamie, she said, schooling is a big motivation. Okay, yes, that's, oh, good. So Jamie's going back for behavioral therapy, being selfish. Do you want to explain a little bit of that?
Yes, I would love to. I was a part of a program long ago for it's called the Alcoholics Anonymous program, and they tell you that they teach you a lot about humility and being selfless and the art of being humble and being of oneself and giving to another without having to receive anything in return is the point of being selfless. So we look at being selfless as in a sense of, for me, helping my neighbors with the groceries is me being selfless and not wanting anything in return, or just doing something like opening the door for someone who's coming in or out, or even saying good morning or you look beautiful today. Having a kindness of an approach towards the day and towards others, because you don't know how well that affects someone's mental stimuli. And I, for one, have received like the thing but good, positive affirmation from that too. So I wanted to understand on that basis of me going back to school for behavioral therapy and wanting to understand my true self and who I am, not based the judgments on others, but mainly on who I was, my self identity. I'm a transgendered woman as well. So wanting to be more on the in depth psychosis of what gender dysphoria is as well was my true motivation. And just being skilled and armored with that extra gear of knowing where my standpoint can be as an individual was my main prospect.
Nice, excellent, excellent. And Jamie, I am a licensed alcohol and drug counselor, so kudos to you for doing AA. And yes, it does teach you humility and being humble and acts of service for others. I think that's extremely important in all areas of our life. Absolutely. Absolutely. 7, okay. All right. So we got a 7. All right. That makes me happy. So, yes. Thank you. Brittany has her hand raised. I don't know if she's still, if it's been a hand raise or if she's trying to get on. Okay. And Brittany, jump in if you still have something to say. But yes, congratulations, Jamie, on that. Congratulations.
Sorry, that was from before with the AG5 thing. The independent contract was before. You want to know that I put in the chat. Thanks. That hand raise was
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like a little. Okay.
Okay, thank you. That was still hand raised from independent contract. So I kind of and I want to say thank you to Jamie for sharing what she just shared with the group because that's important. And it kind of leads into number 4. What I wanted to just briefly talk about was making a list of what you like about yourself, right? So I'm just going to use Jamie as an example right now because she's listed so many wonderful things. What I feel that I can see is that Jamie likes when she's not selfish. Jamie likes when she's clean and sober. Jamie likes when she's back in school. Jamie likes being motivations to others. Jamie likes to be thankful and grateful. You start kind of with those types of lists, right? Unique ones to yourself and your situation. And it's okay to brag. It is definitely okay to brag. If you are doing something good and you know it, all of you should feel confident enough in any relationship you're in, whether it be your friends, family, significant others, or your whole social support network, to be able to sit and say, "Hey, look at this is some self reflection I've done on myself, and this is what I like about myself." And the people that's sitting around the table with you should be able to genuinely be able to appreciate that and know that you're and be happy for you as well too. What you like about yourself kind of leads you to a clearer purpose for your career. So, and Jamie, I'm just going to throw you out there for another example, but it sounds like you found a lot of purpose by getting clean and sober for the last 7 years. There was a lot of purpose in that, and the purpose now is to also exercise that purpose and help others. And that's one thing that I could say that I hear you saying about how much you love yourself and how you would describe yourself as the person who you are today compared to maybe who you were 8 years ago. And so looking at things that you can compliment yourself on, looking at how you have a positive impact on other people. Um, Also, too, making this list about what you're like about yourself sometimes is great because when your self esteem is a little bit low, or you're feeling burnout, or you're just not feeling yourself, or you're just lacking something, it's great to just bring that out and just take a look at it, right? And just kind of and look at, hey, you know what? Today might not be the best of days, but this is where this is the whole picture. And so a lot of these descriptions about yourself are going to kind of overlap with the first question, is what are your strengths are. So for example, maybe you're oh, Danny said she was can light up a room, and she can get along with pretty much anyone. um, I would say something that's what she likes about herself, because it makes other people feel comfortable, right? When someone comes in a room and they can speak, and you feel relaxed with them, it makes you feel comfortable. So that's exploring, looking into future occupations, something that you might be interested in. And those traits add to your strengths. So you're able to shine with them and be able to share them with the outside world in a way that you haven't been able to before. So I think all of you so far have mentioned some really great things. And also, too, it helps to keep that list and grow on it because we're constantly growing. So we don't want to just stay stagnant, right? We don't want to be stuck. We want to add to that list. We want to be able to take notes of the things that we have accomplished for the day if it is something new, okay? So definitely you want to be capable of doing and learning self-reflection within yourself, because that's just going to lead to better career and purpose within yourself as well too. Let me pause right now and ask, is there anything that anyone would like to add? Anything about themselves? Jamie, your hand went up, so hopefully that's not an old hand. Okay.
Oh, just as you were saying, the positivities that we generally reflect on it's called daily affirmations, and the daily affirmations are at first hard to put down, but there are those unique qualities people do tell us every day that is wonderful about who we are. But the hardest thing about those affirmations is we have to start believing those affirmations because it's true. Otherwise, someone wouldn't just tell you something that wouldn't be wonderful about you. Like you used, I didn't really hear you clearly, but her name as an example, her personality lightens the room. It's very inviting. Like I can be a very shy person. And for example, like, you bring that type of gift, that zest for life. And not a lot of people have that too. And that type of energy can be draining. So yeah, that's how I go by it, my way of thinking. And I could learn from a lot of critique too. And in AA, that's called taking accountability. And we take a list of, our wrongs and things that we can clearly make right. And So if we have like a second bad self-conscious, it reminds us to, reflect and just take a breath and remind us that we are still human. It's okay to make mistakes.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you, Jamie. Excellent points again. Yes. Taking accountability. Love it. Love it. Anyone else want to share anything that they have right now? Okay. Moving on to number 5. What do you value the most? It's an extremely important question, and I hope everyone's writing it down. But what do you value the most? What are your core values in life? The great thing about this is everybody's is going to be different. And I love that because if we all had the same core values, I think it would be very boring. But core values to me are basically, to me, they're finding the path to a deeper purpose in your life. So knowing what your core values are can actually deepen your purpose. So do you have empathy? That's a great one, right? If Jamie was going to school right now and she did not have empathy, would I tell her to continue with behavioral therapy? I would say no. Okay, so that's something that we want to make sure that we know what we're doing is working. Are you dependable? Okay, there are some careers and purpose where dependability is going to be extremely important and maybe more important than other different careers. Being resilient has a lot have to do with how you value yourself and your core values. Danny mentioned accountability, right? Your productivity at work. All these values determine not only who you are as a person, but also the person that you're working for, or the person that reflects who you are inside is kind of like your moral code of how you conduct every single day, throughout the day, not just at work, but throughout your career and your own personal life as well too. So finding what you value the most in your core values kind of transforms into not only your career, but also your personal career. So you know your values and you live by them. Okay. And that's super important is to write them down, know them, and live by them. Are we perfect? No. Do we have moments where we're like, absolutely, this is not who I am. This happened, but you know what? I'm having ownership of it, and I'm learning from it, right? Um, so I think that's great. If you're able to do that and really focus on what your core values are. Okay. Um, the next question I always ask people, and mind you, a session is typically it's never just one session. Each one of these questions typically takes an hour each if you really sit down with someone and kind of explore, if not longer. But what do I find myself in? Okay, and that's kind of what kind of flow do I like to be in? Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. When you're at work, do you find yourself in such a great flow that you kind of lose track of your time, that you're completely immersed in an activity? I like to kind of give like Picasso the grand flow, right? When he was painting, apparently he would paint for hours and hours and days and not stop. Unfortunately, it's different than Picasso time. But to be into that type of engagement while you're at your career, where you kind of lose track of what you're doing and the day kind of flows, is a good indicator that you're kind of in the right purpose and you're kind of in the right career path. So not that every day is perfect, right? But there are going to be more of a genuinely happier flow within yourself. And you're going to take that and you're going to actually want to feel that flow and get used to that flow, because that flow is going to also motivate you to be like a better person as well too. So for example, if you have a position and you really love it and you have a career, but you hate the math part of it, right? During that course of the day when you have to do the math, you might not be in the flow, right? You might not really love what you're doing, or you might not love writing, or you might not like this piece or that piece. But it shouldn't always feel like it is extremely hard work to you. Okay. Work, but work with a purpose. Okay. Um, so I want you guys just to think about right now a time, and if anyone wants to share, would love it. But a time that you found yourself where you were at work and you found yourself that you didn't even feel like you were working at all. Like, and what job was that, or what were you doing that during that time? I gave my example of when I did interior design. It never really felt like work. It felt more creative and enjoyable, and um, it was fun. It was also during I should add, it was also during the boom in Las Vegas when everything was building like crazy and we had unlimited money to spend. So it's not like that anymore, even in interior design. But does anybody have an example of something where they worked in where they felt like there was just a great flow? I'm going to go ahead and.
Oh, sorry, am I okay to go?
Yes, go ahead, Danny.
So at the start of my career, like before I had responsibility, before I became a supervisor and I was in charge of logging contractors, before I became that, first starting out my career, I wouldn't spend any time in the office. I would be in the woods all day doing surveys, and I'd be by myself, and I had a dog. I was allowed to bring my dog with me to work. And those are the days in the summertime, and I was in charge of my entire department. So silviculture, which is the tree planting side of things. So I would go out and I would just spend all day outside, like in and out of my truck, getting out and talking to tree planters or going out and doing surveys. And it just felt so relaxed. It didn't have the responsibilities of being a supervisor and meeting deadlines and making sure that the mill still has wood. Like it was a lot easier and enjoyable.
Great example. And just being outside in nature with a dog, it's amazing. Yes. And that probably not being micromanaged out there either, right? Not only is it what you do, it's who you work with, right? A lot of times too, that can make it uncomfortable, but that sounds absolutely amazing when you were talking about it. Absolutely. I could actually vision myself being there, which is kind of cool. That's great. Anyone else have an example that they wanted to share about a time when they felt that it wasn't really like work, it was just kind of a workflow. It was just kind of like a being there for a purpose. Oh, okay. So Jamie, same thing kind of had, she had wrote in her chat, not being near her laptop or her phone, not being near Wi-Fi. True, right? Probably feel like relief. Nature. Yes, that's a great one. Okay. And the last one is what can I contribute to the world? Okay. What is my life's purpose? So you want to write down that. Number 7. What is your life purpose? So finding purpose um, means finding meaningful work, right? That's designed for you because you're so unique. Not everybody is the same. So basically, it's an extent of saying that it's a sense of actions that you take that you're contributing to the greater good, right? So it's a purpose for the greater good. Um, what some of the questions you might want to ask yourself when you're trying to answer this question is like, what can you see differently in your community? What can you see differently in the world? What can you see differently in some type of specialty population, or maybe Jamie mentioned addiction. Can you make that happen? What would you like to see? I actually brainstormed an idea with a client the other day about a marketing idea and how that it could reduce fentanyl overdoses in her community. And she actually had a little spark in her, and she was hoping that she could make an impact and at least maybe save one person's life, you know. And those little changes that you have to find within yourself and finding about like what contribution that you could make to make this place better can actually bring more progress in how you feel in your life's purpose as well too. So ask yourself, and then another way to ask yourself this question is, how can you use your voices, your skills, or your expertise to help others? Like, what can you personally do to help others? Um, Starting off early on in my career, I kind of started with writing like ups and downs in my career. What were some of the things that people struggled with? What were some of the things that people were searching for? What I could do to make it better? What I felt that was making it worse. I was able to actually help with a big passion of mine was the lack of housing that we have here in the United States for people with low income, poverty, and homelessness. So early on in my career, writing grants to support permanent supporting housing, transitional housing, and providing on-site services because obviously transportation was very difficult for people. In a one-stop shop was kind of like my vision and my dream. Back before we had universal health care in America, most people didn't have insurance. So I also wanted to have a medical clinic. And I actually was very successful in doing so here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have what's called a little homeless corridor. And it really gave me a sense of purpose of of how I can help others and a motivation to want to do better, not only in my career, but also just as a person. How I could feel that I can make an impact or a legacy to myself. In addition to that, I actually use those strengths and balances to help I expanded to families with children because we lacked the resources here, especially in the 90s, to house women and children or men and children or any type of family unit to have not be separated within the system. So it was just kind of me connecting the dots through the years, but it's important, I think, to write them all down, your ups and downs of whatever you're doing, because that's going to kind of be your baseline and your map to what's going to hold you in the future. And you connect the dots along the way. And also, too, you can kind of decide on what kind of skills you need to develop. Do you need to go back to school? Do you need to get a trade? Do you need to learn a new program? Do you need to take a new class on Microsoft Excel? Different things like that. Just kind of developing your new skills is going to be really important to fulfilling that purpose. I do want to tell you, we only have a couple minutes left. I just want to let you know that I just wanted to give you guys some statistics so you know you're not alone. Right now, they say about 40%, and it's just Americans, I don't have worldwide, but Americans feel that they do not have a purpose in their career. That's 40%. So that is huge. And that's only 60% of people feel like they have some type of purpose. So there is similarities going on in a lot of different fields, a lot of different occupations. Kind of talked about this in one of my other groups. Ever since post-COVID, what we found out was that people are working harder and longer to try to keep up with our economic crisis that we're having. So we want to continue to make sure that we're not getting burned out. We want to continue to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. We want to make sure that we are doing everything possible we can do with our mental health, our physical health, in order to thrive, and also to explore other things and be able to be strong enough to be able to do so. So I hope with all of that information, those at least starting with those 7 things, those of you that have a therapist, I think it would be great to just start exploring, maybe talking to them about career changing, talking to them about what you can do, assessments that you could take with the therapist. I have a bunch of different assessments I use, tools I use with my clients, where they fill them in and we score them together and they kind of break down what occupation you're good at, what kind of financial because of course, remember the external is financial sometimes. So we'll go ahead and kind of score all of that and make sure that it all lines up. And then the path to get there is really important as well too. So we do have 1 minute left. Does anyone have anything they would like to share before we end our webinar for today?
Can I just ask if we, maybe wanted to reach out to you and kind of explore these a little bit more? Is there a way to reach out to you personally?
There is. I actually, I can go ahead and let me put in a chat my email. And then my email address is my first name, Bridget, Bridget, _ Bycina, Bycina @yahoo.com.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you too, Danny. Thank you for coming. Seeing the thing. Thank you, Brittany, for coming. Thank you so much. Jamie, thank you for sharing. Emily, thank you for coming. And Lacey, thank you for coming. I really appreciate you all for participating, and I hope to see you at the next webinar.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.